So you didn't see me.
Oh, okay. Strange. Okay.
I noticed I had a little time, and so I was looking for some documents, and then suddenly it was 8:59. It's like, oh, better hop on. Liz, thank you for joining us again.
Oh, no problem. Am I muted? No, okay, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Good morning.
You know you're on vacation, so we appreciate the dedication. I told
Good
Liz.
morning, gentlemen. It's nice to see you.
Good morning. We're just waiting for one more person to join. And there he is.
You go.
We can get started.
Interesting. We can't rename it.
All right. Let's see. Morning, Avery.
Good morning, Ned. Good morning, team.
Morning.
How are you feeling? How is your finger feeling this morning?
They let me take off the splint, and
This is being recorded, so
then we don't have to talk
let's
about
be
it.
sensitive about details. Thank you.
For a couple of days in this, anyway, we're hoping that you're healing okay. Mr. Stark had an injury earlier this week, and we're monitoring him closely. Anyway, good morning, everyone. I'll call to order the administrative hearing of April 15th, 2021. My name is Ned Thomas. I serve as the planning director for the city of Milpitas, and I will be the hearing officer for today's virtual meeting. We will begin today's hearing with a public forum. Any member of the audience who wishes to provide live verbal comments during the meeting must first register to join the meeting via the link provided on the meeting agenda, and the meeting agenda is posted on the city's website. To register for the meeting, you will be asked to provide your name and email address. The city will then send you a Zoom link, allow you to join the virtual meeting as an attendee, and then you can make comments, and your email address will not be disclosed. I call for public comments. Registered attendees who wish to speak may click on the raise hand icon within the Zoom meeting, and then the meeting secretary will call upon speakers one at a time. So you'll need to listen carefully for your name to be called. Those participating by mobile phone will need to dial 9 to use the raised hand feature. When their name is called, they will also need to dial star 6, star 9 and star 6 to unmute their phone. And the mobile phone numbers will be displayed in the live meeting. So all speakers will be allowed up to 1 minute to speak on any item. Each person is limited to 1 comment per agenda item and 1 comment for a non-agenda item. And no response is required from city staff or city officials on any item not on the agenda. And please use the chat box if you need technical assistance. Only the chat box is not a public comment forum. Thank you. So that's the preliminary speech. And we'll start with a public forum. This is for any item that's not on the agenda today. It's just part of every public meeting that we hold at the city. So, Secretary, are there any registered participants in the online queue for general comments?
Good morning, Ned. There are no participants in the public forum.
Great. Thank you. Then we will go to the public hearing portion of today's agenda. The hearing procedure and order of input will be as follows. I will identify the project as described on the agenda. I will then ask staff to provide a brief report, a summary of the project, and any issues and conditions of approval. And then the applicant or their representative will have up to 5 minutes to speak and should identify themselves by stating their name for the record. You don't have to speak, but if you'd like to, so you can waive your time, but if you want to make a few comments, that's okay too. Again, you'll have up to 5 minutes. And then after the applicant has spoken, this is a public hearing item, so any member of the public who wishes to speak on the item can provide testimony up to 1 minute per speaker, either for or against the project. And as I previously mentioned, any member of the online audience who wishes to provide verbal comments live during the hearing must first register to join the Zoom meeting. And to do that, you need to follow the instructions on the agenda, which is posted on the city's website. And then following comments from the public, the applicant can respond to the public comments. The applicant or staff can respond to those comments and then make additional remarks for up to 5 minutes. And then I will take action on the item. So we'll follow that lead. Let me pull up the agenda that I have here. So we have two items for public hearing this morning. The first one is a single family home, major renovations or modifications to the home. It's an addition. And that includes expansion of the first floor and the basement areas and the addition of a new second floor. So the total new floor area is 1,856 square feet. The city zoning ordinance requires a minor site development permit and this type of a public hearing for that, for extensive renovations of that type. I believe we have our associate planner, or excuse me, our assistant planner, Krishna Kumar, to provide a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Ned. If we can have the presentation up, please. Thank you. Good morning, zoning administrator. My name is Krishna Kumar, and I'm an assistant planner with the city of Milpitas. The item in front of you is a minor site development permit to allow major modifications to an existing home located at 388 11th Street. Next slide, please. The applicant is requesting a minor site development permit to allow major modifications to an existing single-family home, including the expansion of first floor, adding basement areas, and the addition of new second floor for a total new floor area or addition of 1,856 square feet on a 0.141 acre property located at 388 11th Street. Such major modifications are subject to review by the zoning administrator. Next slide, please. The subject site is zoned R16 single family residential, surrounded by other R16 single family residences. Next slide. This map shows the general location of the site in regards to the neighborhood. As you can see, it is surrounded by other single family residences. Next slide. Here, you can see the existing and proposed site plan for the property and the project. Next slide. Here is the proposed floor plan for the project. The existing portion of the home will remain with the 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room, and a dining room. After the modifications, which includes the basement and the second addition of the first floor and the second floor, the home will consist of a total of 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a living room, a dining room, an atrium, a rec room, a den, and a basement storage area. So as you can see, the new portion of the house will consist of, or on the first floor, it will consist of a bedroom and a bathroom, a new kitchen area, and the new or extended garage area. And on the second floor, you'll see it consists of a rec room, a den, and a bathroom. Next slide, please. All exterior materials and finishes blend somewhat harmoniously with the surrounding residences and the general design character of the neighborhood. Most of the houses within this neighborhood are 1- or 2-story contemporary houses. The proposed single-family residence is a 2-story home with gray stucco, purple trim, and matching horizontal siding exterior walls, stone veneer, and roof with glass solar tiles. The color of the trim, which is Wixon PPU 17-03, is not consistent with the code requirements for the building colors to be earth tone, muted, and or compatible with the surrounding area and development. The applicant is also proposing a new concrete ramp from the existing walkway in the front yard. Next slide, please. As you can see, here is a current photo of the site and landscaping in their front yard, which is to remain, and no changes are being proposed here. Per the conditions of approval in attachment A, all landscaping in the front yard shall be trimmed and maintained by the property owner. The sidewalk in the front of the property shall be kept clear of any obstruction by the property owner as well. Next slide, please. Staff has confirmed that the project meets the finding associated with the minor site development permit. Those findings have been addressed in the memorandum. Next slide. 69 public notice postcards were sent to the property owners within a 300-foot radius of the property boundaries. A notice of public hearing was posted in the Milpitas Post on April 2nd, 2021. Staff posted a yellow sign on the property, and staff has not received any phone calls or emails for this project. Next slide. Staff recommends that the zoning administrator approve permit number P-MS20-01 through H to allow major modifications to an existing home, including the expansion of the first floor basement, addition of the basement area, and the addition of a new second floor in the R16 single-family residential zoning district, subject to the findings set forth in the report and the conditions of approval. This concludes staff summary of the project, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you.
Thank you, Krishna. Just one quick question, and then we'll have if the applicant has some comments. I know in recent weeks and months, we've had some comments, not on this project, but on other similar projects where a second story was added with regard to privacy with the neighbors. And for the second, I know this isn't an ADU, but for the second story windows, was that discussed with the applicant? Any concerns? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. It was discussed with the applicants, and if we can go back to the presentation, we can see on the elevations that the windows on the second floor are are clerestory style, and so that will kind of help with the privacy of the neighbors as well. So it will be not that easy to see in or out.
Great. Yeah, we don't need. I noticed. I have your staff report with the copy of the plans. Yeah, and it looked like the windows in the second story were clerestory, and one floor as well. So, thank you for the attention to that detail. Does the applicant? Do you have any additional comments that you want to make at this time?
No, not unless you have any specific questions.
Okay.
We work with the staff, and they've done a great job of helping us and getting a workable plan together. So we're looking forward to working on it.
Yes, and hello, this is Roman Curtis, the architect. I get disconnected a couple of times. I'm really sorry. And if you do have any questions, I'm happy to respond on their behalf.
And Ned, if I may just add a comment, I just wanted to take a moment and thank the homeowners and thank the designer for having really good conversations with us, being open to our suggestions, and coming up with what we think is a very harmonious design. This is a significant addition to their home. We think it blends very well with the neighborhood, and we're just really appreciative of all their efforts. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. I think that's not to belabor the point. I think that's right in line with some of my comments as I looked at as I read through the staff report, and as I looked at the plans, I noticed that there were a number of features like the arch features and the roof line, and there was I think that I was assumed it looked to me like a very conscious effort had gone into this to make it an integrated design to match with the neighborhood, which is one of the findings that we make for approval. So yeah, I appreciate the work. And I also, want to thank the applicants. I know this is an extra step to go through to have a hearing. This it's required by our zoning ordinance, but we appreciate the patience in going through this extra step. With that said, I'll just mention the findings really quickly. There's 3 findings for this type of a minor use permit, as Krishna touched upon each of these in her presentation. The first one is the development recognizes and respects the nature of the neighborhood and the site, development patterns, materials used, and expectations for those who will see and use the building. As we just discussed, I think that this design does that very well. It's really tricky. I'm sure as the architect will agree, and as the applicants have found, it can be a little tricky to add to an existing home and make it all fit and look nice. And I think you've done an exceptional job at that, and that helps to meet this first finding. The next finding is the development assures that modifications satisfy functional requirements and are screened with appropriate compatible materials. Again, the materials here, as mentioned in the staff report, blend very nicely with the existing home and neighborhood. It doesn't, I guess, for lack of a better way of describing some of these findings, we're looking that the addition doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So, and it certainly doesn't do that. It blends very nicely and is, again, has done a nice job. And then the third finding is that development assures that the modifications will not interfere with the privacy, quiet enjoyment, and view of the surrounding properties, which we just discussed with the clerestory windows. So with that, I find that this project meets all of those findings, and so the project is approved. And we wish you luck in your great addition to your home, and hope you can enjoy all that extra space that you're going to have.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been quite a journey. We're on our third architect. We've been working on this project for 6 years.
Or 20 years, depending on where you start from. And Krishna has certainly been great help, and Jessica in answering our questions and
Avery.
Working through. So I hope we have as much luck with the building department.
And with the actual construction and getting materials.
Yeah.
Good luck on the next phase of your adventure, gentlemen. I know it's not an easy task, but hopefully someday soon you'll be able to enjoy all this beautiful space.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Stuart.
Yeah, moving forward, if you need any help with the building department, we're not the same department, but we're happy to help with anything that we can if there's anything needs that you have. So good luck with everything. Thank you again for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes. When do you think the conditions of approval would be ready? Is there a period of like a 10-day period for the public to object or something like this, and we'll get the letter of approval, the conditions of approval in 10 to 15 days? Now we're going to do the engineering, and I just want to get the engineers to be done roughly at the same time so we don't delay their project on our end.
Right, and Roman, I can we can talk about this offline if you like. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ned, I just wanted to mention that we did not open that up for if there were any public comments. Do we want to potentially allow that? I just want to make sure that if there is anybody that's in the queue that we're addressing any questions that they may have. I apologize, it's a little late.
I make myself a big note and put it right here because I tend to skip over that, and it was totally my oversight. Yes, Liz, do we have anyone in the queue for that item for comment?
Yes, Ned, we have Miss Barbara Navarro.
Oh, my apologies. So let's receive the public comment then.
Okay. Okay, Miss Barbara.
Good morning. Just wanted you to repeat the item that said about the purple trim. So is that going to happen, or is there a new color? And it wasn't really clear on the slides because there is no color on the slides, exactly the colors that they're using. So that's my only comment.
Did I respond? It's a color similar to the burgundy that was on the photo that's shown. The current trim is sort of a burgundy red, and the new color is slightly browner, I think.
Purpler.
A little purpler, but it's supposed to be sort of a dusty brown. The color is called Vixen. It's just a color we like, and we think it's similar to some of the other colors across the street.
Yeah, and I've got to say, we did tune down the color. It was a little bit brighter before, and we tuned it down. And of course, colors varies during the day, depending on how light hits them. So it's very hard with one picture to really reflect the color of everything. You know, on one side of the house, it's going to look brown. When there's no sun, on another side, it's going to have more red tones. But that varies throughout the day, just like any other colors. What we did do is is when we talked about the colors during the project with the owners, they really wanted, a very purple color, and I talked with them, and they agreed that maybe it was too much for the neighborhood, and then we toned it down and try to find a compromise where they would get something close to what they like, and at the same time knowing that throughout the day it would vary to a more brownish color and be more in tune with the neighborhood. So I think they made a pretty good effort in that regard. And then, after a few years of sun, colors change a bit and they fade away. And of course, after the first week is going to be brighter, but very soon it's going to get, very close to what the neighborhood one would want for that type of neighborhood. They did a pretty good effort, I got to say.
Ned, if I could just add, this was also a topic of discussion that we had with the property owners and the designer during the review, and it's the property owners have made an effort to talk to all of their adjacent neighbors. They shared pictures of some of the surrounding homes that are in the area that actually have brighter colors, some of them that are very similar to this trim color. So it is actually very compatible with most of the design in the surrounding neighborhood. So I just want to add that while it is not exactly to the letter of what the code requires in terms of earth tone, I think there was a fair compromise that was struck there, and they also did make an effort to reach out to the community. The other thing I want to add is that the slide that was actually up there does show the color. It's just it's difficult to see the detail there. So if Ms. Navarro would like to contact Krishna, she can share those plans so that she can look at the color with a little bit more specificity if it's not clear.
Yeah, thank you. That's why I noticed that I know it was part of the staff report. And actually, if we could pull up that staff presentation again, the color swatch is there. I did take a note of that, and it's not a garish color. It doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. It is, in my opinion, is compatible with the neighborhood, and it's the desire of the homeowner, property owner to use that color. It seemed that it met the, if not, yeah, it met the intent of that finding, that it's compatible with the neighborhood. I believe it was this one. So you can see that the primary colors on the home, and again, it's hard to see colors through, as on a printed sheet, and that will change the actual color, and then to see it on a screen will yet again change the color. So this is the best that we can do under the circumstances. But you can see that it's somewhat of a dark claret or a dark purple, which is complementary of the light gray and the dark gray that will be on the home. And those are actually very similar to the colors that are on the home now, and it's not, it doesn't stick out within this neighborhood. So again, that fits within the intent of the findings for this type of development. But thank you for bringing that up. It was an item that needed to be discussed. So, right, Liz, any other comments? Public comment?
There are no other community members in the queue.
Great. With that, again, my apologies for skipping over the public comment, and we appreciate the additional dialogue on this project. Thank you again for your time this morning. We'll move to our second item on this morning's agenda. Get that up here. Second item, this is it's a minor site development permit. It's to allow the installation of a perimeter fence and some rolling gates on a parking lot that is surface parking lot that's being developed on McCarthy Boulevard. This fence surrounds a parking lot that was approved in a similar zoning administrator hearing, or did we take that to planning commission? It was zoning administrator hearing a number of months ago, and as they're building it, there were some changes that were made to the security fencing. So we have our other assistant planner, Avery Stark, here to present the staff report for this item.
Good morning, zoning administrator, staff, members of the public. My name is Avery Stark. I am an assistant planner with the city of Milpitas. The item in front of you today is a minor site development permit to build a new wrought iron and chain link security fence with rolling gates at 1207 North McCarthy Boulevard. The site was previously approved as a quasi-public private parking lot to facilitate vehicle parking and improvements to a trailhead for the Coyote Creek trailhead parking area. The site is a 5-acre site located west of the McCarthy Boulevard, just south of the city's main sewage pump station. The property is zoned industrial park with a recreation and entertainment overlay within the McCarthy Ranch Master Plan, and the neighboring properties are zoned industrial park and park open space. The applicant has submitted a request to permit the installation of 2,175 linear feet of site fencing, 2 new rolling gates, and 4 entrance gates to enclose the entire parking lot. The applicant will also, will install 854 linear feet of galvanized black chain link fencing with black vertical slats measuring 7 feet high in height along the property's easterly border, and for reference, that would be along the Coyote Creek trailhead. And then 8-foot black high wrought iron fencing will span the remaining 1,300 linear feet along the site's northern, southern, and westerly sides. And the location and the details are shown in attachment B, page A101. And to make a comment on the conditions of approval for this item will be revised to reflect a letter that will be issued by the Engineering Land Development Department to address the 27-foot landscape utility easement and a dedication in the responsibility of maintaining the difference of where public and private meet, and that will be resolved in a memo to follow this meeting, and the conditions of approval will be revised to reflect that. The site meets and is conforming to the zoning conformance in terms of its lot area, width, and minimum landscaping, as this project is particularly pertaining to a fence. Per the section of the municipal code empowers the zoning administrator to consider and approve the minor site development permit in order for the findings to be identified, the rationale behind the action. So all 3 of the findings, as previously mentioned, the development recognizes and respects the nature of the neighborhood and site development patterns, materials use for the expectation of those who will see and use the building, or in this case, the parking lot and the structure of the fence. The development assures that the modifications satisfy functional requirements and are screened with appropriate compatible materials. And the development assures that the modifications will not interfere with the privacy, quiet enjoyment, or view of surrounding properties, all of which have been found in the affirmative. The project is categorically exempt from further environmental review under CEQA, as it is a conversion of a small structure. And then I think if we were to go to 3 pages forward on the plan set, we'll see this plan. This is A101, or actually C3. This outlining border demonstrates the property boundary where the fence and the gate will be located. Again, along Coyote Creek is where the chain link vinyl cladding will be, and then the other 3 portions of the property will be the 8-foot wrought iron fence. I walked the site just a few days ago just to get a good sense of where the new fencing will be located in relationship to where the landscaping ends, where it becomes public and private. And all things appear to be in good standing in terms of plantings, trees. The parking lot has come quite a long way from what it was previously as an undeveloped parcel. And everything appears to be in good order, and we'll be closing out that site permit after this zoning administrator hearing for the installation of the new wrought iron fencing. With that, staff recommends that the zoning administrator approve minor site development permit MS 21039 to allow the development of a new wrought iron and chain link security fence with rolling gates, subject to the findings set forth in this report and the attached conditions of approval. That concludes staff's presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer them.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Stark. And I see we have the applicant's representative, Joe Gaggiano, here. If you have some additional comments or that you'd like to make.
No, just thank you guys for your time. I think as far as the aesthetic nature of this, we have Sprigg Center to the north, on the north side of the Milpitas owned property. The fencing, the wrought iron fencing will be like for like, which was previously approved. So as you kind of travel down the street, it will look and feel the same. And the only, I think, note of why we went with chain link along the eastern border is that and I always, get confused, but we can't put a permanent structure along that levee border. And so that's the reasoning for the chain link. It has to be somewhat be able to be destructed in the event of an emergency. And so that's the reasoning for using chain link along that border. And the same condition exists behind the mini storage, extra space storage at Sprigg Center. We do have chain link fencing on the eastern border of that property to comply with those other codes. And so other than that, I mean, we appreciate your guys' time and happy to answer any questions. Paul, our architect, is on the call as well to help answer any questions.
Great, thank you. I just have one quick, I think it's more of a clarifying question. I know there's the one vehicle entrance that's clearly can be seen on the plans. The project description mentions 2 rolling gates and 4 entrance gates. And I know when the parking lot was going in, we spent a little bit of time talking about pedestrian access, and part of the approval was upgrades to the landscaping and the sidewalk, and then connection with the sidewalks to the north and south. Are some of those gates pedestrian gates as well? I wasn't sure where all 4 gates are.
If you can scroll through forward in the plan set, you'll actually see. See, that might be a better one. If you zoom in there, IT, you'll see there's.
Yeah, I had earlier to call up and I zoomed in, and then we had to join the hearing, so I didn't get. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
There, that's a better one. So there's 2 entrances that have been created on this site, one there and one towards the pump station. Those will both have the rolling gates to allow entrance and exit. And I can add that I've spoken with Joe and the team that will be taking over this space. Those operational gates will be opened generally between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. And the gates will remain open during those periods of time to alleviate from any possible traffic congestion, queuing or backing up on North McCarthy Boulevard as they enter the site. And that will be an amendment to the condition of approval. Right now, it has just general operation hours, business hours. So we will clarify the precise business hours.
Okay, great, thank you. As a surface parking lot goes, this is actually a pretty nice one. It has lots of good landscaping within the park. I know we're not looking at the parking lot, but again, we appreciate the efforts. And some of that, of course, was for the on-site stormwater management. So for anyone in the public that's watching, just to know that when the parking lot itself was approved several months ago, a lot of attention went to those details. And I appreciate the pedestrian access here. I think I even see a bus turnout. And I would also like to mention this parking lot was, well, if we can zoom up there to the north. Again, not that it's part of today's application, or actually the other direction. I just wanted to point out that a feature of this this project, when it was approved, is this public parking lot that's actually trail access. This parking lot has been in existence at that location for a number of years. It was somewhat, it needed some refurbishment. So as part of this project, the property owners also upgrading that parking lot significantly, adding landscaping and enhancing the access to the trail. So there was a public benefit that was derived from the original project when it was approved. And as the applicant noted, the chain link fence is, I think was anticipated that time. Today is more of an upgrade, and just to this minor site development permit was needed for the changes and to sort of finalize the location and the design of that fence. And then with the chain link, the vinyl clad chain link to the rear. Any additional comments from the applicant?
No, I'm happy to report, Ned, that public parking lot portion, we opened up the driveway probably a week and a half ago, And when I was on site yesterday morning, it was nice to see. It looked like residents in the community were actually already using the parking lot to access the trailhead. So it's, I think there was some minor landscape touch-up going at the trailhead there, but I think it's great to see that portion of the property to be upgraded and used, and adding definitely some significant stalls there. So I think the landscaping that's out there, as you mentioned, it'll be kind of, like I said, like for like between Spriggs Center and our industrial project down the street. And so we think it looks great, and we'll with the access now, the sidewalk being completed essentially from Dixon Landing Road all the way down to Ranch Drive with the retail center down there. I think it's a great add for this part of Milpitas.
Yeah, thank you. I would just add to that this is an interesting parcel. It's oddly shaped. It's somewhat narrow, and it's backed up against the trail. So there were some significant issues with development. What do you do with that type of parcel? So I think that you finding a suitable use for it as this parking lot, and then the upgrades to the public access to the trail, it was kind of a win-win in the end. With that, this is a public hearing item. I'll open the public hearing, and hearing secretary, is there anyone in the queue for comment on this item?
There's nobody in the queue for this item, Ned.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. Again, appreciate the efforts working with staff on this item. I know there was a meeting yesterday, as late as yesterday, with our engineering department on some last minute issues that will be, as Mr. Stark noted, will be written into the conditions of approval, just so that we're clear and have memorialized some of the agreements that were made on type and location of landscaping, irrigation, and some of those minor details. Again, this is a minor site development permit. It's the same findings that were for the previous one that I went through, and Avery also mentioned those as part of his report, so I won't go over them again. We do find that the type of materials, the type of or the proposed fence and gates and all of the improvements are consistent, compatible with the neighborhood, and that they obviously meet the use and the need in the neighborhood for security on the parking lot and other features. So with that, this item is also approved, and we wish you well in the continued development of the parking and use of the parking lot as it moves forward. And thank you again for working with staff on this.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to thank Avery, and specifically, he's been fantastic to work with, and the whole team and Heinz. But Avery, thank you again for all your help on this. Been a pleasure.
You're very welcome. We can talk offline, and we can get that resolution finalized.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks to both of you. With that, the public hearing portion of the meeting is closed, and I will just read, we'll adjourn as soon as I read a bit of legalese here. So any person aggrieved by any decision of any board, commissioner, department head to the city of Milpitas may appeal the decision to the city council by filing written notice of the appeal with the city clerk within 12 calendar days of the date of said decision and paying the required fee. The time limit shall be strictly enforced. So I should have mentioned that earlier. I know that on the previous item, the question came up as to how long the appeal period is. So 12 calendar days, and then they can move forward. I was also, I think, oh, Krishna's gone too. We can follow up with Krishna. That I wanted to make sure those applicants are aware that and their architect, they can prepare their engineering drawings and their building permit and submit that at any time, even during the appeal period. They do so at their own risk, but I don't know that there would be an appeal of their items. So
I'll let Krishna know, Ned.
Great, thank you. All right, with that concludes our administrative hearing for today, April 15th, 2021. Thank you again for your time this morning.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.